You are live.
Hello, everyone. Oh, perfect. We're just going to give it about 2 minutes and then we'll crack on with the presentation.
Attendees, whilst I've got your attention, you'll notice that there's a questions or there's a chat function. The best thing that I'd like for everybody to do, just so I can make sure that everybody's able to hear us and that you're aware of where this feature is, if you don't mind just dropping a little message just to say hi. You're welcome to put your name in there, but just drop a little message just to say hello so that we know you can all hear us, okay?
Can everybody hear us, Camille?
Oh, we've had one person say that they are unable to hear us. Give me just a minute. Okay, so one can. Rita, if you don't mind, can you just do me a favour? Just check to make sure you're speaking. Oh, if you can't hear me, there's no point in saying it. Sorry, let me type it too. Thank you, Kim, for confirming that you're able to hear me. There's somebody else, Edel. Can you just confirm that you're able to hear me, please? Just going to give everybody a couple more minutes and then we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're almost ready to go. We're just making sure that everybody can hear the session. I'm actually just going to do a quick test on my phone as well to make sure that everybody's able to hear. So give us one more minute and we'll be ready for you. Do me a favour, Carley, just say something for me, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello.
Just say something. Perfect. Yep, we're all good. Just done a test on my phone, so you are good. You're set and you're ready to go. I can hear you perfectly.
Good to go. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Good evening. You got it? Yeah. Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this sunny day. I know we've all been tanning ourselves, but hopefully you're going to find this useful. I'm not tore you away from the sun too much. My name's Carley, and I'm the event manager at the University of East London, and I'm also the event project manager for Pride in London also. Events as is in my blood. It's been within my work, my voluntary sector, my life for over 10 years. So hopefully you'll pick up some hints and tips today of the virtual events world. I'm going to start off with a bit of a background about who I am. Who is this woman from the northwest? As you can tell, I'm not from London with the accent. Who'll be chatting to you. The positives of going virtual. We're getting a lot of negativity at the minute, and the events industry it was majorly hit at the start, but the virtual events is taking over. So what are the positives of going virtual? One way or multiple ways, so that's relating to streaming, which is the best way for the events that you're wanting to look at. I'm going to talk through platforms as well. As we all know, there are thousands of platforms out there, and currently I've been sitting through hours and hours of demonstrations, so hopefully I can make it a little bit easier for you in terms of giving you some tips of what are the best platforms that you can use for small scale events and large scale events. Accessibility is a massive thing as well. Just because we're not in a physical capacity anymore, we still need to make sure that our events are accessible to those that require it. And then project management apps, and then talking things all creative. I'm a very creative person. I love thinking outside of the box, so I'll give you some tips on how you can make your virtual events that little bit creative. So here's just a mini kind of timeline of the events that I've been a part of for the last 10 years. I graduated back in 2012, UCLan, University of Central Lancashire. And from there, in the early years, I was doing lots of prestigious sporting events. So Preston City Games, student leagues. I was part of the Great Manchester North Games as well. And then later on, I've always been in higher education, institutions up and down the UK. So as you can see, Huddersfield, Manchester Metropolitan, Queen Mary University, and ran every event you could probably think of, been on every pub crawl, not in a personal capacity, that you can think of, been at every event that you can imagine, as well as overseas training with the disability charity that I work for in my spare time. And then I've been with East London now for probably around just over 2 years, and within this I'm doing big flagship events now, so graduations, your Water Lane Wonderland, which is a take on Winter Wonderland, your Royal Docks Festival, which is an entrepreneurial enterprise festival that brings together all of the university. All of these events that you see in front of you now will be going virtual, and this is what I'm working on. So as you can imagine, it's a vast array, but nothing is impossible right now. So yeah, that's what I'll be working on. These are just a few pictures just to put into context the events that have happened physically and all the ones that will be going online now. So as you can see, we've got Professor Green there from the Royal Docks Festival. We held our very first convocation at the University of East London back in, it was back in September. That was like a graduation style, but at the start of the year to welcome first years. It was a fantastic event attended by over 1,000 students, and we're taking that online for September. And there's me dabbing as Santa Claus at our Water Lane Wonderland. So that's just to give you an idea of the scope of events that I've done at the University of East London. As well as University of East London, as I said, I'm the event project manager for Pride in London also, and Pride in London is gone virtual crazy at the minute. So I manage the staying in, or coming out as it was formerly known before lockdown, website, and this farms hundreds and hundreds of events over the past 3 or 4 months. We work with big bands, we do performances. I think if I can click on, hopefully this whole presentation won't go kaplunk, and you'll be able to see what the site is like. Let's have a look. Is it coming on? So this is the site that I manage and help curate events for. So we've got everything from conversations with Dame Judi Dench that we work with, lots of theatre shows, we do speed dating events, we do virtual runs, aerobics, drag aerobics, everything that you can think of is on here. And this is to cater for not just the LGBT community now, because there is such a demand for these kind of events from everywhere across the community. So that is kind of what I help with, support, I manage and deliver. And of course, this is a bit of a cheeky plug, if any of you or any of your friends or family have events that you wish to reach out to this community for, your business, your companies are looking to support the LGBT community in this difficult time, then please do reach out with me. I'll give you all my contact details at the end of the session. Go. So from the kind of virtual aspect of Pride in London and the University of East London, I've managed to get featured into the Independent, into Marie Claire. I'm going to be featured in the Times for the events that I've curated over this time. This probably wasn't even possible to think that I would probably be in these kind of big star like media accomplishments before. I'm working with celebrities who are willing to give their time. Everybody's in the same boat, and this is what we're seeing now. And everybody's wanting to give their time to help another person. So all I can say is be cheeky. Ask them questions to the big companies, the big bosses, the celebrities that you didn't think were in reach before. People will want to help you. And I'm integrating all this into the University of East London to make sure that these events go virtual, and the Pride kind of filters through as well. So that's all about me. I'll shut up talking about me. I don't want to bore you to death. So what are the positives from virtual events? There's so many, and I'm sure a lot of you work within companies or businesses that aren't just based in London, aren't just based in the north. They're based overseas as well. So I'm working with a company currently, Zebra Technologies, who are based in California and London, and they've come to me because they want to bridge that gap. They do a lot of Teams meetings, they do a lot of Zoom meetings, but they want to focus events that's going to bridge that gap between California and London right now. So it really does bring together offices, companies, all from all over. It does increase your attendance. As soon as kind of lockdown started, everyone who worked in events was like, "Oh my God, what is going to happen?" But the increase in attendance from the events that I have done. So from a physical event, I'll give you an example. We host coffee sessions with our senior members of staff at the University of East London. I'd say that they were probably pulling 20 to 30 in a physical capacity. We have now been reaching the 120s, the 150s, because people want to enhance their learning. They are there at home. They might not have lots and lots to do now. We are at our wits' end after 3 months. Increasing attendance is happening. So we really need to grab a hold of these virtual events. Along with that, you're reaching audiences that you might never have before. Not everybody likes to turn up to coffee sessions in person, so this is a really good way of reaching the people you've not before. You're setting yourself apart from the rest. As we've all seen right now, every company and business is kind of trundling along, trying to get that virtual event aspect, but nobody's really nailing that yet. So if you can find the right platform, you've got that hint of creativity, you can set yourself apart from everything that's out there right now. It's so cost effective as well. You don't need any budget sometimes to just put on these webinars, to put on coffee sessions with colleagues, with friends personally. It's a time saver as well. As we know, in event planning, it can be weeks and weeks and weeks of event planning, and it still is the case for the big flagship events, like if we want to do virtual graduations. But also with things like this, you can do it quickly and efficiently, because it's all there and it's all set up for you if you know what to do. Yeah, feedback as well is a massive thing for events. We always need that to know how we're going to better ourselves, to improve on event by event. And feedback is so easy to obtain by these virtual events. It's something instant and quick that I'll talk about later. You can do instant polling, live polling, and you can send out surveys straight after as well, and hopefully get a better uptake. So I've talked about the positives, but why should we go virtual? Why shall we not just wait until this is all over and we can all see each other face to face? Why do we have to go virtual? Well, this is a great way to increase your visibility in your brand or your business or whatever you want to promote. Everybody's there, everyone's at their computers now, everybody's sitting at home and looking, farming things out for things to do, new things to explore, and this is your time to take that. It's a great authentic relationship builder. As I keep saying, and I will keep repeating, everyone is in the same boat, and everybody wants to enhance their learning, enhance their skills. And if you've got something that somebody might not have thought of before, an idea, a concept, a new product, this is a fantastic way to get it out there. Regularity builds trust. This is so true. If I take an example of the Pride in London staying in, coming out website that I manage, like, people bring in regular events. At the start, of course, you're going to start with 3 or 4 people, but now they're building up to hundreds to thousands of people because they've been putting on regular events each week. It can be quite draining when you only have a handful of people that turn up to an event, but it's what you do with that event after. It's how you promote and publish it. So keep going with it, and that's when your bigger followings are going to come. You can generate income from your events, and you can use this as a fundraising tool as well. Not everybody, people work in charities, you know, companies want to raise some funds in this hard time to help support staff, to help support their business, to keep it running. So it's a great way to generate income. You don't need to charge masses and masses of ticket prices, but you could charge, you know, small scale stuff for guest speaker events, for webinars, things like that. Big companies want to support you, and as I've said before, the Independent, Marie Claire, you know, working with these companies, they want to cover you. They want to source these stories of people coming out of the depths of lockdown and creating fantastic virtual events for the whole community. So big companies want to support you. I'm currently working with Deliveroo on a campaign for Pride Month, which is called Deliveroo. So you might see me on your social media and TV soon, but it's things like that. And I'm happy to share the details of Deliveroo, of the Independent, of all this with you at the end. Not a problem at all, to help you, you know, get some ideas and creativity out there. You can be a leader in your field. This is the time to really shine. You know, everybody's finding their feet with it, but if you can really get a good virtual event going and get that large following, you're going to be absolutely leading in your field. So which way streaming is better? So one way streaming is what this is now. This is the go-to webinar. This is me talking at you. I know, I'm sorry, it won't be for much longer, but this is a one-way streaming. So this is good for webinars, for some quick hits of information, hints and tips. Board presentations are good for this as well. Official speeches and live broadcasting like we're doing now. The multiple streaming ways is what I'm working on now, which is for our virtual graduation. We want to be able to see the students interacting with us. We still want them to do their hat toss. We can't do it in person at the Excel, but we still want that aspect of it, that interactivity, that feeling that they're still there, that camaraderie. We can still use multiple streaming for festivals, exhibition fairs, career fairs. All of these are going online now, and in the next few slides I'll tell you about the platforms that you can use to do this. So if you have a bit of money, as we all know, it's all budgets, the big B word. If you have money to spend, there are a lot of probably clogging up your inbox right now with companies wanting to use our platform. Come and use our platform, come and use. I've had it all. And in the past 3 months, I've had so many demonstrations. So I want to share with you some of the best that I've seen. And hopefully this will give you a stepping stone into be able to take it forward to your companies, your businesses, yourself, and work out what is best for you. So if you do have a bit of money to spend, there's a few here that we've worked on. So Hoover, an American-based company, and they integrate to an already existing platform. So this isn't a bespoke platform that can be created especially for your business, your company, or yourself. They integrate already with Zoom, they integrate with Teams, WebEx, Periscope, and it's a great way of getting over 1,500 attendees to an event. The price is based on individual events. They don't do a monthly subscription, but they do offer live polling, feedback surveys. They offer breakout rooms, live chat and registration. What I'm finding is that breakout rooms are quite hard to come by. I know room bookings are a nightmare in the physical aspect anyway, but breakout rooms are quite hard in the kind of virtual context. So this was a fantastic company that did this that kind of offered this for us. WebEx again is a two-way streaming capacity. This is a monthly cost. It's similar to Microsoft Teams, so it's not too dissimilar to what you'd be using in your everyday office life, but it's just another way. The monthly subscription goes up and it offers you slight variations different to Teams. That's really it with WebEx. Speakeasy, another great one. This is a very bespoke integration, so you tell them what you want and they will build it for you. That's why the price with this is a lot higher. It links into, this is a great aspect because it links into already social media links that you'll have that'll exist, and as I'll talk later, social media is key right now if you can really get a grip of that. And they offer fantastic things like live photo streams, and if any of you watch Sky Sports, you'll be able to see like the little ticker across the bottom. They offer that throughout the whole of your event with live pop-ups of what people are saying, which is fantastic. It's a nice interactive element. Zoom webinar we'll all kind of know about, and then Blackrock Media, which is what the University of East London is kind of exploring at the minute for their virtual graduation. This is where we can have 1,000 students on our screens on a rotation at once. We can hear them, we can see them, they can interact with the speeches that the VC might do. Like I said, said before, they can have that hat toss moment, they can do a mini speech if they would like. We're working out how it looks, but they can offer that interactive element that I'm looking for personally as an event manager. Obviously with this, the price does go up depending on what we want, but they do range, as it says here, from 3,000 to 15,000 based on what you want. The fantastic thing with this, that a production crew is provided, so you'll have support in that area. Registration portals is key right now for security. The thing with Zoom is that security is quite a big issue right now, so having a registration portal that is private, you're getting secure links, is fantastic and is what is needed for the virtual world right now. And training and advice given to presenters. So that's if you do have a budget. This is all getting sent to you, so don't feel like you have to scribble it all down now. This will be sent to you after. If you have a limited budget, as some of us do as well, there are lots of other things that can be used. So Teams Live is an addition to Microsoft Teams. So you might be using this already in your personal life or in your work life. This is a one-way broadcasting, so it is a lot similar to GoToWebinar, which is what you're a part of now. There's a Q&A chat box. As a person and a presenter, but I'd be a floating head at the side of this presentation. That is the kind of difference with Teams Live. You can have 10 presenters at a time, and it allows for an audience of 20,000, which is fantastic. And this is free. This is already built into Microsoft Teams, so this is already there for you to use and is a function that's already available. Event Builder is also by Microsoft, and this is also an addition to Microsoft Teams. The only thing with Event Builder is there's a small charge, because the only kind of additional thing that I've seen with this is that it provides that secure registration portal for you, and it allows for you to store as many event links as you want. So as you'll know, if you run events regularly, these virtual events, there's links galore, YouTube links, the links from GoToWebinar. Where can I store all of these safely and securely? This is what Event Builder gives you. It's like a cloakroom, if you will, for virtual event links. So that's kind of an addition. So Teams Live and Event Builder go hand in hand together. Event Builder does a small cost, but not that much. Other things that you've probably used as well: Flipgrid, Google Hangouts, Google Meets. These are all kind of lower for small scale events, but they're free as well, and they kind of work a lot like Zoom. You have 100 attendees on the screen at once, muting in and out. Yeah, and it's with Google, it's kind of linked to your Gmail, so if you don't have a Google account, they've opened this up now to everybody, so all you need to do is just create one, but you don't need to use it unless you want to. Another fantastic thing that's happened on social media as well is Facebook and Instagram rooms are now a thing. Who'd have thought it? Facebook getting on board with this as well. So Facebook and Instagram, you can now create your own rooms. This is fantastic and has been used across universities for residential students who have not been able to get home. They still have that community on campus by creating this social aspect online. But you can also use it for overseas, as I've talked about before. If you have businesses overseas and you're holding a social and it's not a professional aspect, you can use these rooms. There's a fantastic event that is going on the 9th of June that Facebook are delivering to talk about how you can integrate and use these virtual events and rooms. I think it's about an hour. So yeah, make sure the information's at the end of this slide, end of this presentation, sorry. So these are the platforms with limited budget. There's still a lot out there. It's just a lot of flexibility for that interactive element you might not be able to get with this limited budget, but there's still so much that you can use. Accessibility. So with accessibility, this is referring to individuals, attendees that attend your event that have specific requirements that are classed as disabilities. So what I tend to do is that it can categorize it into 3 kind of sections. So one is mental health, specific learning disorders like autism or dyslexia, and then physical disabilities. Which I talked about before. Just because we're not in a physical context now and that step-free access element still isn't there, there's still a lot of things that we need to be considering. So if we take mental health, trigger warnings is absolutely key. There's a lot of sensitive topics and issues going on in the world right now, and if you are hosting events, virtual events with guest speakers that could be touching upon some of these topics, it is really important to have these trigger warnings. It doesn't have to be in big bold letters on your promotion, but it has to be in a clause. It has to be somewhere within that promotion that these are the topics just in case, you know, they do trigger something for someone that they don't want to think about at that particular time. You have to cover all aspects of your virtual event and make sure that everybody's aware of what is going on. Language and banter, you know, this is another thing. Not everybody, you know, speaks in the same way, thinks everything is funny in the same way, and you want to make sure that you're catering for your audience, which is why I've said before, registration is key for these kind of events. And it says it on the bottom of the slide, make sure that you're asking if anybody has an accessibility requirements before attending a virtual event. So language and banter is a big thing, and participation. How are we interacting with the people that we have, whether it's a Microsoft Teams, you know, GoToWebinar is not so is not really within this, because I can't put you on the spot. I can't say, oh, Camille, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? You know, it's about how we approach that. We have to make sure that people voluntarily want to come forward and give their ideas and opinions, and not to make somebody feel, you know, that they're on the spot. Specific learning disorders. So if we take into consideration dyslexia or potentially autism, make sure is your presentation dyslexia friendly. You know, the use of too much color could affect how somebody interprets the slides. And make sure that font size is 12 and above. That's the kind of standard across the board that is advised for people with dyslexia. And also make sure that people have handouts, transcripts to give after. I know that sometimes I'm probably talking at 100 million miles an hour, and you might not take everything in. So, you know, people want something to take away, to digest, which, you know, this will be available on YouTube, and Camille will send out the links after. So that's a fantastic way to make sure that the resources are there after for people to digest at their own space, at their own pace. Physical. There's so many different softwares out there, and I'll give you the information for Enhance the UK, which is the disability charity I work for, that have investigated. That sounds like it's a police investigation. They have kind of undergone and looked at Microsoft Teams. They've looked at Zoom and the big software companies, and looked at what software can be integrated to provide subtitles. YouTube software I've used a lot, but it is very old school, and it is very basic, and it can get quite behind and delayed. So there's some brand new software that's out there, and there's a link on the next page that I'll show you. That's a fantastic way to get some subtitles into your virtual events. Lighting as well, make sure everybody can see you. If you're hard of hearing and you're in a dimly lit room because you don't want your face to be seen, or you've got sunburnt from being in the sun and you think some dim lighting will work, it won't. So make sure that everybody can see your mouth, can see your lips. And always, and this is given for me, make sure that you allow additional time before an event to make sure if anybody has any of these kind of accessibility requirements, you can make sure that they're okay with them. In physical capacity, we have quiet hours for our exhibition fairs, for our freshers fairs, for our graduation events, where people with accessibility requirements can come in before. There's no rush, there's not a lot of noise, you know, they can settle into it. So make sure you do the same with virtual events as well. It's exactly the same. Make sure that they're okay with their sound, you know, not that you can physically help them with that, but you can make sure that they're checking aspects of things like that that will help and make it easier throughout their virtual event. So as I've said, Enhance the UK are a disability charity that cover all of this. And if you want to follow them, the Twitter handle is there. Or if you want more information, if somebody comes forward and there's an accessibility requirement that you're not too sure on, don't worry, we're all still learning this as well. So please make sure you either get in touch with myself or Jenny, who's the CEO. She's fantastic, and she's so willing to help all University of East London alumni, students, staff with this topic. So make sure to do get in touch. So project management tools. So we've talked about all the platforms that are available to us, and everything that, you know, can make our virtual events, you know, give us that platform, give us that stepping stone to make us the leads in our field. Project management tools, we're not all with our teams right now. We're not all able to just turn around and grab and go, oh, can you just do this for me, 2 seconds? Can you just send this? We're not able to do that. So how do we keep a track of how we do that with our teams? Of course, we can have regular meetings, but I'm sure like myself, you're getting to that point now where Zoom, where Microsoft Teams, chats are getting all too much because you're doing it in your personal life and work. So what other ways can you keep a track of it? So we've got calendars, absolutely fantastic way of doing it. I work with Trello and Slack for Pride in London. Trello, if you're like me and you're not a whiz kid, is the most straightforward platform you can think of. And all this does is that it allows for you to put, if you have topics or you have tasks to do, it allows you to put it all into one place and assign it to people. So if I have a list of 10 tasks that I need to do for virtual graduation, I can go, right, them 2 are for me, that's for Melania, who's in my team, that's for Courtney, who again's in my team, and we can assign them virtually that way. And when they're done, they go into another folder, done, completed. It's as easy as that. It's 3 or 4 columns, however you want to make it, and it's as easy as peas. That's all I can say. Slack is very much the same. If anybody's old enough to remember MSN, Slack is very much the same as that. It's chat boxes, it's tagging people in stuff, it's a way of storing a lot of files, ideas, thoughts. So Trello and Slack, I would really, if you're not using anything at the minute, I would really highly recommend them. But please do check licensing issues with businesses and companies, as they're all different. So I don't want to set you up and you're not allowed to use them. So do make sure that you check with your companies or businesses that within licensing this is permitted. Getting creative. Oh, there's so much colour and everything on this page. Social media is key in being successful with virtual events. It's also fun and it works all the time if you do it right. There's a huge amount of competition out there, and I'm not saying, oh, that's gone. There we go. There's a huge amount of competition and you do need to stand out from it, but there's so many things out there that I'm still learning. I thought I was down with the kids and I knew all of this, but I really don't. So I'm glad that I've got a younger team around me to help figure all of this out. It's the best. Social media and promoting on social media is the best for existing audiences. So if you've got a great following, that is fantastic. You're going to reach all of them, but all of these kind of other creative ways are going to help you build that, along with regular events, regular posting, all of that. So we've got Snapchat and Geofilters. What these are is that they set parameters to a certain distance, and you can personalize when people, it's all about selfies these days, it's all about people taking pictures, memories, it's all about that. And these allow for you to personalize like a frame of a selfie. It allows you to put whatever you want on. So I've used this for award ceremonies before within the borough of Tower Hamlets in London. I used it all around that borough for all of our students that were celebrating their awards, and it was like, I'm an award winner, Queen Mary University, kind of in a frame, and they could use different filters for their selfies, and then they tagged us on social media, which was great. It's a really nice, quick and easy, cost-effective way to interact with your audience. We've got Gif Makers. So GIFs are little tiny snippets, if you will, of videos, funny videos that you've made or that your company or business make, and they're just very interactive kind of things. You can see this little avatar picture in front of you here. This is a Bitmoji. So Bitmoji was a new concept to me about 2 years ago, and then we needed to reach out to students a little bit more. So we did a social media takeover, and I created my own Bitmoji of myself, and I answered questions. It was an avatar that was very interactive, and they could kind of ask me out of hours, you know, from 9 to 5, I'd be on social media, but outside of it, this Bitmoji would act as me, if you will, and take over and ask and answer questions and things like that. It was fantastic. So look into that. It's free, and it's a really nice concept. Yeah, and then we've got TikToks, which is a dance craze, is all lots of funny videos, you know, taking the mick out of yourself, making sure that you're having fun with your virtual events, of course, if you're allowed to, and you know, it's not of a serious topic, you know, making sure that you're setting yourself apart. It isn't just a bog standard essay post that you're doing on Instagram. You know, Instagram is short, quick, snappy. And that's what social media has to be, because as we know, we scroll through and we flick through, so it has to be engaging as much as it can be. Other ways that you can be creative throughout kind of your webinars, your sessions, anything like that. You can use things like Mentimeter, which is a firm favorite of mine, and Mentimeter is the same as Glisser and Slido. Mentimeter is a quick way of getting feedback. It's an instant live polling survey that can be done throughout your presentation. We can attempt to try it on the next slide and see if it works. And Snapbar, so Snapbar, they normally do digital photography for events. They do photo booths, sorry, but now they're going online. So for your virtual events, they're providing photo streams, photos to be taken within your virtual events. It's a fantastic new concept, and everybody, as I've said, loves keepsakes. They love pictures. They want to post it to Facebook, Instagram. This is where you're going to get your followers. This is where you're going to get everything, and your followers liking you, basically. Another cool thing that I did for a Pride in London meeting recently, there's about 30 of us, and I made sure that we had Uber Eats deliver to all of us a coffee and a donut. A simple but effective way for your virtual events. If they're very small scale, everybody loves food, everybody loves drink, and you take them to your regular meetings anyway. So just because you're far away and not close to people doesn't mean you can't treat them with their favorite drinks and food. It's a fantastic new option that Uber Eats do, and I can give you contacts if you want to do specific orders for specific people, but I thought it was a kind of nice little way to kind of end. Well, I was going to try a Mentimeter, but I'm afraid it's probably all just going to go a little bit peak tongue. Additional support here, as I said before, there's a Facebook and Instagram virtual event webinar that's happening on the 9th of June, and this will teach you all about that brand new creating rooms concept that I touched on before. So they will go through all of that with you, as obviously if there's not an alumni network webinar, I don't want to cross promote. And then there's a social media trends of 2020 ebook, which is a fantastic free document that you can download, and if you're a little bit not sure what to do with social media or the trends or anything like that, read this and it will make it really clear for you, if I haven't before as well. Make sure to download that. It's a free tool. It's fantastic to get to grips with social media. These are my contact details at the bottom here. The UEL one, anything related to the University of East London or any of the events that I've touched on that you're thinking, oh, I want to kind of bring that in-house to my business, please talk to me. And as I've said before, Pride in London I work with, if you or your family or your friends have any events that you think will cater to that community, please do get in touch. I would love to help you, support you, get you up on the website throughout Pride Month, which is this month. So that's perfect. So that's kind of like a whistle-stop tour of virtual events. They're here to stay, and that's basically what I need to say to you. We need to get a hold of them now, because this will be the new norm. I hate that saying, because it's going to be said for months on end, but they are here to stay. So the sooner we can get a hold of them and you can get what you want to get from them, the easier it's going to be, and everyone will be following suit. So you'll be the leader with that. Pick the right platform for your event. I can't tell you or stress enough that that's how easy it will make it. You don't need to go all high tech if you're just having a coffee session, if you're just having a board meeting. If you want to go big with your virtual interactive graduations that we're doing, convocations, festivals, fantastic. Have a look at the platforms I used. Approach the big companies. Don't be scared to now. Reach out to people that you thought were out of reach. As I've said before, they're all here and they're wanting to cover virtual events that are happening in the community, and they will. So it's a great way. Always be accessible. Please always make sure to consider accessible needs. It's just a simple, upon registration, make sure that have you got an accessibility requirements is in there. Thinking outside of the box, and nothing is impossible. To think 3 months ago that we were planning all these physical graduations, convocations, Royal Docks festivals with Professor Green, to now putting this all online is such an exciting time. And it's building on skills and abilities that you probably didn't even realize that you had, and it's going to make you, it's so much more employable in the future to say that you use this time to enhance your skills and build on what will be the new norm. So yeah, that is me. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to take it and ask me after. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carly. That was an amazing presentation. I'm just going to give anybody another minute or so if they've got any questions. I am checking in the chat or the questions section. So if you do have any questions for Carly, feel free to drop them in now. This presentation will be uploaded onto YouTube within, oh, we've got a question. I'll be with you in just a sec. We will be uploading this presentation onto YouTube within the next few days or so, and I'll make sure that if you would like a copy of the presentation, that you can get that as well. And no questions. Carly, Pamela's just said thank you very much, very informative. Again, I just want to say thank you everybody for taking the time to join us this afternoon. I'll let Carly say her goodbyes. Other than that, I hope to see you all at our future webinars as well. Have a great afternoon, guys.
Thank you for joining, everybody. I hope you found it informative, and I'm here to help along with the alumni team as well. So have a great rest of your lockdown. Hope you all stay safe and well.